At the popular level, both in the United States and abroad, Thomas Jefferson remains an incandescent icon, an inspirational symbol for both major U.S. political parties, as well as for dissenters in communist China, liberal reformers in Central and Eastern Europe, and aspiring Democrats in Africa and Latin America. His image within scholarly circles has suffered, however, as the focus on racial equality has prompted a more negative appraisal of his dependence upon slavery and his conviction that American society remains a white man's domain. Thomas Jefferson, born in Shadwell, Virginia, to Peter Jefferson and Jane Randolph Jefferson, is one of the most influential pillars of the foundation of our nation. Thomas Jefferson was born on a plantation named Shadwell, but spent most of his childhood at Tuckahoe Plantation in Virginia. He was born into the planter class, was highly educated, and attended the College of William and Mary. There, he became an attorney and planter. He aimed to expand the family estate, and he inherited 20 to 40 slaves from his father.
At the beginning of Thomas Jefferson's political career, he was elected to the House of Burgesses in 1768. He was then elected to the Continental Congress in 1775. In 1776, he wrote the Declaration of Independence at only 23 years old, which is one of his most notable achievements in his lifetime. He was elected to the Virginia House of Delegates in 1776 and appointed to revise the Virginia laws. In 1777, he drafted the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom, which was passed by the General Assembly in 1786. His fierce fight for religious freedom is one of his most notable accomplishments, and he brought it to him when he was working on the Constitution as well. From 1779 to 1781, Jefferson also served as the governor of Virginia and was elected to delegate to Congress in 1783. All these achievements are very notable and are part of the very beginning of Jefferson's political life.
Thomas Jefferson served in France as commissioner and U.S. minister from 1784 to 1789. His two most practical proposals came in the early 1780s, as a gradual emancipation scheme by which all slaves born after 1800 would be freed and their owners compensated, and a prohibition of slavery in all the territories of the West as condition for admission to the Union. By the time of the publication of Notes on the State of Virginia, Jefferson's record on slavery placed him among the most progressive elements of Southern society. Thomas Jefferson began Notes on the States of Virginia in 1780, which contained an extensive discussion of slavery. This discussion included a graphic description of its horrific effects on both blacks and whites, a strong assertion that it violated the principles on which the American Revolution was based, and an apocalyptic prediction that failure to end slavery would lead to convulsions which will probably never end, but in the extermination of one or the other race.
Most notably, in Thomas Jefferson's later political life, he served as the first U.S. Secretary of State under President George Washington from 1790 to 1793. This is where he became most famous, and he made his close friendship and then ending of friendship with John Adams from their political fall apart, and he was elected as John Adams' vice president from 1797 to 1801, which wasn't by choice or on the ballot together. It was because the person who came in second place was elected as the vice president. Furthermore, he was elected as the third president of the United States and served from 1801 to 1809, totaling 2 terms. In 1803, the Louisiana Purchase concluded and the Lewis and Clark expedition launched. In 1806, the Lewis and Clark expedition finished. This is what he was most known for. Louisiana Purchase, which overly doubled the size of the United States, and is known as his greatest achievement, even though it was somewhat hypocritical and against what he believed about a small central government. Also, he passed the Embargo Act in a failed effort to cease British and French Navy forces and capture of U.S. merchant ships during the Napoleonic Wars, which was also one of his biggest tragedies of his presidency and led to his demise.
Jefferson retired from the presidency and public life in 1809, hiding away from the eye of the nation in his estate, Monticello. Thomas Jefferson died at Monticello on July 4, 1825. One of his fiercest political rivals and closest friend, John Adams, passed away on the same day at his home in Quincy, Massachusetts.
In conclusion, Thomas Jefferson deserves to be placed on our American Wall of Fame because of his numerous accomplishments and critical role in the foundation of the United States. Although Jefferson is a man of controversy and hypocrisy regarding slavery, he made significant and lasting efforts over his lifetime to advocate for the gradual emancipation of slaves. We do not want to deny or delegitimize the shortcomings and undefendable choices Jefferson made by continuing to own slaves and then having an incestual affair in multiple enslaved children. These actions are not why Jefferson deserves to be on the wall. Jefferson deserves to be on the wall because he was a fierce defender of religious freedom and the freedom of speech through his numerous years of legislation. Jefferson was a progressive of the South and worked across the aisle many times, regardless of his fundamental values. If he believed that a decision would benefit the nation as a whole, he would support it. Jefferson drafted the Declaration of Independence at age 23 and spearheaded the Louisiana Purchase. He helped hold the nation together during its most critical infancy and was regarded as one of the most influential founding fathers by all of his colleagues, whether they agreed or not. This is the life of Thomas Jefferson.